Ladies and gentlemen, the time has finally come. I think we're finally seeing the death of Isekai, or at least the death of the Isekai trend itself. If anybody's been around anime for a while, you'll probably note that here recently, things have been pretty much steering towards every single season having multiples of Isekai series, and that's because of the popularity itself. Now, with every single medium, I mean, honestly, with Western media as well, you've seen, like, Western films that were coming out for the longest time. It went into space films, horror films. Like, there's trends in every single medium. It just seems like with anime specifically, it feels like around the time of Sword Art Online, it feels like, every single season we were getting massive amounts of isekais specifically. But yes, during this management plan that was released by Kadokawa, they cited specifically two different things that they've had a little bit of a excessive reliance on, and that has pretty much shown them their profitability has calmed down. And those two things are, of course, isekai type stories and specifically narou. And now, for those who don't know what narou is based on the term, or it's a term that is based on Sosuka ni Naro, which is a self-publishing website. Let's become a novelist. Now, on that website, a lot of things that become popular there is like isekais, power fantasies, fantasy type stories. So they're saying specifically isekai and narou type stories. But let's get into actual reporting here. First, the actual signs of them losing this profitability. As we see here with the consolidation financial results, trends, and forecasts, we'll see that yes, technically overseas, they're actually seeing some steady growth. Consolidation overseas sales grew steadily, but operating profit growth slowed due to stagnation in publication, IP creation, and animation film. Now, yes, as we look down here, you'll see that, yes, everything was great back here, but in 2025, fiscal year 2025, they have a 2.9% operating margin. Now, what this technically means right here, hopefully I don't get this wrong, but essentially you take like the total amount of money you made for like all of your sales and everything, like what came into the cash register, and then you compare that to the actual amount that you're going to get after, marketing and the publishing costs, like how much it costs to print the mangas and the light novels and whatnot, like all that other stuff. So your actual amount that you're making overall is that percentage there. And what this essentially means, and we'll probably get into it later on, is that why this is so low compared to like previously, again, 7%, 6%, why is it coming down to 2.9? I think what we're going to get into in a minute here is this typically is caused by the fact that you're not seeing volume. You can print, the first volume of 20 new series. Like, holy crap, we sold 20 new series, the first volumes, but if each individually doesn't sell that much, you probably sold, based on it 2.9, that means that they didn't lose money, but because they're not selling much of each of them, they're not seeing a massive amount of profits. You have to have one or more of these things sell large amounts of volume before you start to see that percentage go up. So yeah, you can technically sell 100 copies of volume 1 of this series and make your money back. But if you can sell 1 million copies, that's when you see that percentage growth go insanely higher because you're able to print more volume, and thus the cost of it's going to be less. Now, let's get into what they say is the cause of this, which we've already pretty much touched on earlier. Recognition of current situation. Excessive reliance on existing winning patterns. A bias towards proven genres, such as narou and isekai type works. Results in market saturation and worsening profitability. Again, finally they're acknowledging the fact that it's pretty much what everybody's been kind of saying, but again, take them in mind, this is really them talking specifically or majorly about the fact of, domestic publication. This is Japan, so this isn't really talking about the West yet. So everybody like stepping up and going, oh man, we called it. This is talking specifically publication in Japan. They're acknowledging even there that they're having an excessive amount of these particular works, and it's causing an oversaturation. Again, it makes sense, perfectly makes sense. It's successful, and it's going to probably still be successful in the future. Let's not beat around the bush here. This stuff is not going anywhere. Narou style stuff and isekai type works are not going to go anywhere. But right now, they're at least acknowledging we have too much. There's an over-reliance on it. We need to dial that back a little bit. Now, again, to clarify here, everybody knows what isekai type works is. It's when it's another world type stories where a character goes to somewhere else, some other world. Narou specifically, again, is based on Sosuka ni Naro, which is a website, Let's Become a Novelist. And whenever they say narou type works, they're particularly talking about like stuff that you would typically see there. And that typically, again, includes not just isekai, it can be just fantasy, power fantasy type stories. They did get into the fact that, higher manufacturing costs as well. Also, the increased number of titles published has not led to creation of bestsellers. Wow, shock there. You can't just throw a million things at the wall and expect to make some big hit. No, they want that. They honestly want that. They're hoping that if they, produce a lot of them and they put them out there, that one of those will stick. One of those is going to take off. That's the hope that they're obviously having. By actively hiring new editors, we succeeded in increasing the number of titles published while keeping the number of titles assigned to each editor to a minimum. That's great. That's honestly, a pat on the back that I think is deserved. The idea that, yes, they're not overworking these editors. However, this has also led to an increase in titles lacking in originality or quality and ultimately failed to result in the creation of hit titles. I think this is like too many chefs in the kitchen situation here. Like, you probably have a whole bunch of people that are all in that same room, and you have all these new editors, and they're all looking new ideas, and they're probably going to sites like, Naro, and they're getting all these works over there. Everybody literally is trying to find the next Isekai. They're all trying to find the next Sword Art Online. That's really what I feel like this is saying right here. And we're like, we got to get them all on track to realize, hey, only so many of you look for Isekais or new, Naro type works, okay? In the end, I think that's really the problem they're facing here. It's not necessarily, and again, they're saying excessive reliance. They're not necessarily saying that, hey, stop Isekai. That's not what they're saying here. They're saying here that we need to, diversify. We need to get different ideas here. Like they were saying right here, lack of depth of diversity and planning typology, decrease in novel projects and taking on new genres. New genres, 100% agree. 100% agree. And again, I don't think these works are going to go anywhere because, again, they're still selling. Let's keep this in mind. Isekai, especially Isekai, it's still selling. If you look at the charts in Japan regularly, Isekai is still up there. Like all of my previous videos that I've done for, what's popular in Japan, it's always these Isekai shows. They're still selling. It's just that Kadokawa is acknowledging 1,000 of them every single year that we're, publishing and doing anime for is too much. People only have so much time. And again, eventually they're going to get tired of seeing the same damn thing over and over and over and over again. Even Refugin over here, which of course, for those who don't know, is the author of Mushoku Tensei, which again, he got his popularity through that particular website, Shotsuka ni Naru. Even he's defending the idea of specifically Naro-type works. He says the whole discussion around Kadokawa's financial results and Naro-type works, even if it's meant as a sign that this kind of Naro-style content will decline going forward, the people currently called Naro-style authors are still very good at analyzing the market, narrowing down what sells, and quickly producing works that are likely to succeed. So it'll probably keep repeating in the future too. Even he's acknowledging, like with the idea of Naro-type, these individuals know how to shift for the trends. And again, since there are a lot of these cases, individuals that are, publishing on, let's say, Let's Become a Novelist, on these web-based publishing platforms, they're able to quickly adjust to the trends and get it up there. I think that's what he's basically saying right there. They're able to get to those trends quickly. These people know what sell. These authors know what sell, and they jump on it. That's why these are so popular. They're wish fulfillment type stories. They know the appeal of what people want. They're accessible. People like them. And again, it's a click away to get it up there. And something like, Kadokawa, they have to adjust that kind of stuff. They have to get the approvals for that kind of stuff. And again, a lot of them are coming to these platforms to get these people. So basically what Refugion's saying here, it ain't going nowhere. And I agree. This stuff ain't going anywhere. It's popular. People love it. Again, it's wish fulfillment. It's just what I'm sort of seeing with this whole statements from Kadokawa is that they're at least looking to dial back. And this kind of goes in line with what Kadokawa said previously about the animation department, which was a part of this whole thing as well. Them talking about how, there's a lot more competition and whatnot. They're seeing, like right here, they're saying that there's a lot of, shortage of human resources for animation that's, bringing in the profits as well. Their animation department is kind of seeing a problem as well. I think in general, Kadokawa is realizing that there's a lot of growth that's happening in the anime industry and specifically with novels. Again, a lot of this stuff is publication specifically. IP creation. There's a lot of stuff coming out right now. The popularity of anime and manga and light novels has gone up, but they're realizing at some point they got to dial back a little bit. They're creating a bubble basically. Them and all these other companies are creating a bubble. And that bubble right now, what they're kind of pointing out is, again, Isekai and Naro works, which again, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to completely pop it. You don't have to throw the entire thing out the window. You just got to dial it back and focus on some original ideas. And thankfully, I think that's a positive thing we're going to see from this whole release here, hopefully, if they follow through with it, is you're going to see like an increase of them trying new ideas out. Try to find new stuff. Don't just rely on, villainous stories. Don't rely on, overpower fantasy, the idea of the wish fulfillment themes of fantasy settings and whatnot. Get some new concepts in here. But anyways, that's the news out of Kadokawa. Some interesting stuff out of Kadokawa. I think we're getting a lot of admittance out of them recently. I mean, the whole situation we had previously with the, CEO, whatever, that was talking about how Crunchyroll themselves is going to start dialing back how much they want to give for their licenses and whatnot overseas. I think Kadokawa in general is, getting a little bit of a wake-up call that a lot of the growth that they've seen in their industry, especially because of COVID, a lot of stuff is being dialed back. Like, people are now going back to work. They're, losing interest in anime itself. Me and my brother have talked previously about this concept of the 3-year rule, which kind of felt like it went away for a long time. This idea that, people get into anime, they love it for 3 years, they watch all the best shows, and at some point they get to the seasonal lifestyle and they get bored and they walk away from it. And I think we're sort of seeing that kind of come back. It just took a while to come back because, again, we had this pandemic that happened. And I think because of that, both in Japan and in the West, people are going to start kind of, walking away from anime and novels and manga. And I'm wondering if we're going to see that correction, that course correction happen with Kadokawa and Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll still seeing an increase in subs, so it might not necessarily be yet, but I think we're starting to see shifts in the industry that Kadokawa is obviously feeling. But anyways, that's the news. Hope you guys found this video informative. If you did, hit the like button down below. Until next time, y'all take care.